Yeah.
All right, we're talking about people we want to have sex with, guys.
You take Brad over Leo.
I mean, I think they're both great. Wouldn't be mad either way.
I know you like the blondes.
They're both blonde,
Brad.
right?
Yeah,
Brad
yeah,
Pitt a
Brad's kind of
brunette?
brownish brunette.
If you could
What do
be,
you think, Rob?
if you could be, you got to talk to Casman about the
I'll tell you what guys
dude
look
stuff.
like. I'll tell you what guys look like. all right?
What
The girl stuff?
If you could go like remake any movie and take a role, or even like go back in time and be in any movie ever, what do you want? Like, what would when you watch a movie and you go, "Fuck, I wish I did that." I wish.
Goonies.
Of course, yeah, that's on. Yeah, it's on the list. Goonies is fucking great. The movie we watched the other night, Hook.
Yeah, it's any
Great
of those
movie to be in.
adventure movies that are, fantasy, and you're on these big sets, and like you get to, especially as a kid, like all that dreamy stuff. That was amazing.
Yeah.
As a teenager, I would have loved to have been in like a Karate Kid movie.
Breakfast Club is my number one.
Oh,
If
really?
I could have done one movie ever, I would have done
Yeah,
any.
John
oh,
Hughes.
I
Right?
just
It's
love.
John Hughes.
John Hughes.
Hughes.
I just love.
I think I would have been in a Star Wars movie because of the people in those movies, regardless of how small of a part or big, just live in like pop culture forever
Well, you'd have to be in the cantina, right?
because of how weird I am,
I'm just
how off.
In the what? In the cantina?
Yeah, in the cantina in Star Wars.
Is that an actual term in Star Wars?
Yeah, it's like the bar where all the different aliens live.
Oh, yeah.
You'd be one of those guys. I mean, he's
Yeah.
not gonna be like, I'm a fighter pilot here to
Yeah.
save the day.
See,
He'd be-
if I was a kid, I'd want to be like in a Harry Potter movie.
Yeah.
I couldn't get behind those movies.
I
man.
watched them with Bo, and I'm like, just the same. I bet our faces look the exact same. Like,
I think those movies are awful.
Mighty Ducks. I wanted to be a Mighty Ducks
Sandlot.
so bad. when I
You
was
would've
like,
killed it in
Sandlot for
Sandlot.
sure. Three Ninjas.
God. Bo
Now you
loves
want to
them.
be in those movies because you personally now love those movies so much.
Well, no. It's because when I was a kid, like that, it would be like, oh my god, it would be so fun.
So-
Like the memory of being in Hook is so much greater than the memory of like playing someone's son in just like a movie, like a small
Yeah.
role where you're like, oh yeah, I remember that day on set where it's like, oh my god, we were dressing these crazy things, we were throwing this stuff, and there were sword fights and pirates and like it's just
Yeah, when we were watching Hook, I was thinking that I was like, oh man, it'd just be so cool to say you played Rufio in that
Yeah.
movie, or even that like round little butterball black kid,
Yeah.
who just like
He took over.
cannonballed everyone. Yeah.
yeah.
He was, which I don't remember seeing in any other movie. Maybe he was, but he was
Yeah.
such a specifically wonderful part of that movie.
My dream
so good.
now would be to be in any musical movie because it like ties in for me, like, when you're musical theater requires, like rehearsals, choreography rehearsals, singing rehearsals, like,
Yeah.
and then putting all the pieces together and then like finally getting to perform the number.
Yeah.
Like I loved that process of theater of like individual rehearsals and then, then to, dress rehearsals and all that excitement. So then to imagine to like then step on like a sound stage or wherever and do it in front of a camera, that's my numero uno dream for that
I would
career-wise.
I would settle for just like the guy who drove the boat in the Pamela and Tommy Lee sex tape. I'd love to be in that movie.
His penis.
Yeah, if
That was his
did-
penis.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
There was no
Yeah.
boat. He
I
put his
would want
cock
to be
on the
his
horn.
penis. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gosh, man.
The
Pulling her out of the shorts.
another movie we talked about the other day that I would have maybe the best to be in was Little Monsters. Imagine being in Little Monsters.
So good.
That baseball scene.
Yes.
Cassim has never seen Little
I
Monsters.
cannot believe you've
seen it.
never seen Bryce, have
Are
you
you
seen
mad at
Little
me about it?
Monsters?
Are you
What
mad at
the
me about it?
hell?
And are you going to punish me?
Is it an East Coast thing? Why have people not seen Little Monsters?
There's a comment I read on that was like, I don't like when Cassim's creepy to Jamie. She looks uncomfortable.
I can honestly say Cassim's never made me uncomfortable.
Thank you.
Gabby, pull the tape.
Unless we're talking about when we've done like our Bachelor reenactments.
Well, I think we've had. I think we have this dynamic where I lean into the creep a little bit, and you completely play along and understand. And
I'm acting.
I've never once attempted or forced myself upon
Never.
you in any.
Never.
Not even
I
when
wouldn't
we were
allow.
alone the other day
On the floor watching a movie,
together.
cuddling.
Well,
Are you inside my head? Did you Were you in my dreams?
Speaking of creepy guys, we started talking about that hotel documentary about the guy who built the hotel. And the way he almost got caught was he was watching somebody and like I think he had a tie on and his tie went through the vent. And you just saw like a tie hanging from up in the ceiling. And then there was other times where
he was literally like right above it. So did he have like a crawl space that he could just...
A whole skywalk. So he built it with this whole thing in mind. Like
was he a millionaire?
Imagine a long hallway.
I don't remember. Or it's just like where he was. It didn't cost that much to do.
We got to get the name of this documentary. But like, wasn't there a murder or something that he witnessed? And that was the kind of like... There was something that happened, right?
Something, I forget. But it's
really
just great.
So he turns out to be a hero.
No.
Oh.
Wait till the best is like when you see the guy and he's one of those people who, I forget if it's like psychopath or sociopath, where he's like, they were, like he's making excuses of like, of whatever the thing. But what I want to know is, when you hear about people's sexual fetishes, are there ones that you go, okay, I could get into that. And then other ones where you're like, why? Like for me, when I hear women are like, oh, leather, I'm like, I look at leather, I'm like, this is so dumb to me. Like, why would leather make you think of sex? Like I look at leather, I'm like, this is stupid. It looks like hot and uncomfortable.
Look, may I? Leather, I see as an inconvenience, but I wouldn't be opposed to trying it once,
When you say leather, meaning like just wearing leather?
Well, like they have all those like, the leather masks and this kind of thing where girls, but like there's a lot of girls who say like leather is so hot it really turns me on.
It's a specific material. I don't judge what turns somebody on.
No, of course not. But I just mean in your brain of like, how the fuck?
Right.
Like some things I go, oh, that's not for me, but I get it. And then there's things where I go, why would that, like, that would be like, man, cotton. I just want to fuck.
I saw just a clip of a scene where a fat woman was wearing latex, and I think she was on a treadmill, and where her butt is, there was like a funnel that went from her butt with a hose into a gentleman's mouth. And the goal was for him to drink her juices. And that's what I constantly go to when I'm thinking of latex. I'm not into that. When people go, I'm into feet, I'm like, look, that's fine. I'm not into feet, but if you want to put your feet on me, cool.
Have you ever put a girl's toes in your mouth?
Yeah, but I don't
feel like that's weird, right?
It's not too bad.
It's not like a common thing, but like if you're like super in the moment and super like just...
But like
primal.
I would have to like take your sock off and know that you haven't been walking around the...
Well, you do it out of the shower. You get out of the shower and then you do it.
Or out of the shower.
Yeah.
That's the move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are some of the fetishes you see where you go, all right, like
I wouldn't mind be tied up.
Whoa! We found the clip of the week.
So
whoa, I'm gonna sit back.
Those are
guys. Please.
I wouldn't mind. You say yours on 3 out of 10.
I just think like the thing, like there's something that happens to you when you don't have like your hands and you feel like, you're at someone's like your mercy. You know what I mean? Like you're like, I think that there's that thing where it marries like, sex and like vulnerability and not fear, but you know what I mean. And like, it's almost like that feeling when somebody's not even tickling you, but they're nearby and you already start to feel ticklish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I do. Right, Bryce?
For sure. For sure. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Look, I agree.
But you would want to do the tying. You wouldn't want to, or you'd want to be tied.
I would want to be tied.
Oh, see, Jamie, how do you feel about tying?
I think it can go both ways.
Yeah.
Whoa.
I want to be tied. I'm actually right now thinking about how I could do that because I have this bed frame and there's no holes.
Yeah, same with us.
I got to install something like
some hooks in the wall or something.
Screw some handles in.
You just do scarves. Scarves are high. Like you tie with scarves. You don't need to be tied onto something. Just tie the hands.
That's true.
I got this. I went to a sex convention.
What was that move again, Jamie? So hot.
Is that the face you make when you
Yeah.
do it?
That's that mom face.
Okay. We got to feed the kids in 15 minutes. Do what you will. I went to a sex convention called Exotica in Miami.
Exotica?
Exotica. And
Why would it be called Exotica?
I don't know.
I
That's
did.
why I was asking again.
I was doing interviews, and I went to a much like Comic-Con, different companies have booths and things that they showcase their products. I went to one booth, and they're like, "Hey, if you just shoot something in here, we'll like give you our like top of the line product." It's a metal attaché case, right? It retails for like $400.
Wow.
You open it up, like click, click, open it up, and it's like all these glass and metal wands, right? It's an electric stimulation.
We're getting zappy, yeah, okay.
You zap, right? So you plug it in, and
The whole suitcase?
no, there's like the less sexy part, which is the AC adapter. You plug in, right, and then and you can attach. It's like
Cosm's
this
like
thing.
when they give you the thing, you're like, I know all about this. They're like, oh, sex toys. You're like, no, AC adapters.
Yeah.
No, it is 15 volt. So it plugs in, and then there's a thing that you put each different kind of wand in, and there's also like a belt you can wear, and if you want, and it creates like if I were to touch you, you would see a spark on your skin. It turns you into an electric conductor, and then once I do that, I can grab these different wands and use these wands. Some of them are sharp, pointy. Some of them, like you would like use in the like a sewing situation. They're prickly. They roll. Some of them are like a little mini light bulb that you could shove in certain places. But the part is it's all electrical, and it creates like a static, but you can crank it up to where the shock gets a little harder.
Not for me.
And more,
This is where I'm like, this is one of those where I'm like,
I tried it on my girlfriend at the time, but I also didn't. I was like, hey, I got something at the show. Close your eyes. I'll blindfold you. And let me try something. Worst idea.
Of course.
The last thing you're expecting in the
was the worst
bedroom
idea.
is a fucking electrical shock.
Yep.
She laid there all naked.
You need to see it coming and anticipate it with your brain.
I should have said like, hey, there's something,
thinking?
there's like technology involved, and you may. But I turned on a really low setting, and she was like, "Ah, what the fuck," and
You ruined the mood.
Ruined it. Did not know how to incorporate it into the bedroom. Put it all back in the thing, and it's sitting in my bedroom right now. But I think about it sometimes. I think about like what that could be.
Well, I think if you give somebody warning and like talk about it before, you might have more successful.
Yeah, maybe being tied up and having a conversation about it.
Well, with girls, a lot of the thing is
would be good.
anticipation. And when a girl's just like, whoa, I wonder what, and it's like,
yes,
like that's
to anyone it would.
Yeah, it's like,
terrible.
in like Halloween where you're like, close your eyes, and you put their hand in a bowl of like spaghetti. Or like, hey, this is worms, or like a bowl of
zombie
grapes.
eyes.
Yeah. They at least know there's something going on.
Yes.
But imagine doing that and then putting their hand like in a fucking dog's mouth or something.
Yeah, this is a piranha cage.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, I got some
What about
some
you?
shit I got to deal with.
Fetish. No, you know what? Like I find, I'm kind of like the anti-fetish thing, where like I see a lot of fetishes are about like, to me, are uncomfortable, like
About pain
tying
and-
up and pain. This where with me, I associate sex with like maximum comfortability. Like the more comfortable I am, the more I'm like, man, that was great. Like I like after being like, holy, like I feel like I'm on a cloud instead
What
of
is
like
that?
I just got beat up.
What is a comfort? Like, are you in like a Craftmatic adjustable bed? Or do you
No, like a massage, and I like comfortable clothes and hoodies in the bed, very comfortable. I'm not like I mean, when I was younger, it was like, yeah, bang in the park, like in the fucking wood in the lead. Now I'd be like, what do I don't like. I don't have that. More as like, man, I'd love to just be like chilling, have a nice dinner, massage.
I read somewhere that if you wear like comfortable clothes, you have soft things, that you care about yourself more. Like that shows how much self-love you have.
I mean,
It's
hello.
like a vibration.
Yeah.
So there you are.
Yeah, he really cares about himself.
Yeah.
I haven't put on anything but sweatpants in.
Yeah, I wore jeans today. It was a big deal.
I don't even know.
Bo was like, "Where are you going?"
Yeah, and I'm not talking about because of COVID. I'm just talking about I wear sweatpants.
Right.
I have like
I've never seen you in jeans.
if you opened up
No.
my closet, there would be 40 pairs of these. Like it's just I'm always looking for new ones. I'm like black sweatpants with zippers. Like I never wear these 2 days in a row. But it looks like I'm wearing the same pair of pants every day.
You never wear them 2 days in a row, huh?
No.
I have like joggers I just will wear all week.
No.
At home. When I'm just at home, there's my home joggers. But I wouldn't wear them out because I'd be worried that somebody would catch a sniff of them or something.
No one can get that close.
Why not just don't smell?
Well, it's not an option for me.
I was watching an episode of Sopranos last night, and you and I were like in the background, like sitting at a table talking, and like all I wanted to do was like know what we were talking about.
Yeah.
Because I know it was probably hilarious. That's what I'm having kind of fun rewatching it now too, is just like seeing little moments like that and not remembering it, but knowing like we loved those moments.
Yeah.
Like when you could be back, when you had like 1 or 2 lines in a scene and then you were background for the rest of it, but you were with everybody all day, it was the best.
My friends told me, my friend Frank sends me the other day the black pregnant girl emoji. And I'm like, oh, he's listening to Pajama Pants or whatever. And I was doing something, so I didn't answer him back. And then like a week later, he hits me up. He's like, dude, are you serious? I'm like, what? He's like, you don't give a fuck that my wife's pregnant? And I was like, oh my God. I was like, that's what you were telling me? He's like, what do you think a black pregnant girl emoji is? And I was like, well, it's a long story.
Yeah.
Not
There's
that
a little
long.
bit of a story here, but I thought you were just a fan. You know, I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, congratulations. Like, you know, it turned into such a fucking whole different thing, but it was
I'm
funny.
so glad I could fuck that situation up for you.
Yeah, and he was like, because listen, the way that I am, like to me, to imagine someone's like, hey, my wife's pregnant, and I'm like, a week of silence. Like that's just so. It's so fucked up. And I was like, he's like, how could you like even and I was like, oh my God. Like
Emojis
I explained.
are getting us in I got in trouble by an emoji. I have a friend on Instagram, a girl that's like an actual friend, but she's like a very, very, very like millions and millions and millions of followers. She posted something and I posted one of those emojis as it, like, or like with a hand up, like me too. You know what I mean?
Hashtag me too.
And my emoji is like the one over from the white girl. Okay, because I have chocolate on my hand. Like I have like olive skin, right? So I did the one over.
I always do that too. Yeah.
I got ripped. Being like, who the fuck do you think you are? You're white. Like, stop trying to pretend. Or like, what is this, some racist comment? Like, you're not brown. You're not black. Like, back up, girl. I was like, holy fuck.
You're like, the only other option was yellow.
I never want millions of followers. Oh, and by the way, Instagram today, like, wrote when I went on Instagram, it showed me that it's removed one of my posts that I had of Bo and Jack in the bath because it was inappropriate.
Oh, well, could you see
said,
wieners?
Cass was bummed.
The bubbles were over the wiener, but
Gross, man.
What upset you more? Having to remove 90% of your YouTube videos or that one
that I couldn't see that
of the kids in the bath?
Yeah, it was just really bumming me out. It's really bumming me out.
It's all right,
I have
babe.
the picture on my phone. I can.
You know, that's funny. I've never thought about that because when I do, when I give or like I always try and match it to my color.
Yeah, that's I guess what I was doing. Where I was like, I'm not Irish.
But those more, hey, easy. Those anything.
I'm not a bright red Irish
bright
tomato.
red.
Yeah, I don't need to change the whole background just so my face doesn't look like I have
everyone,
some kind of terminal
leave a comment
fucking
below
illness.
about how red Robert looks.
Yeah,
in
is
this
Robert
video.
red? Where's Robert's redness today?
Robert Redfolder.
You know, people do a white balance. He's doing a red balance. Right?
Yeah,
On a
it's
scale
just
of red.
Jesus, Gab, you're killing me over here. I gotta say. And by the way, it's kind of racist what you're doing to me.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm just saying.
Hey, what colors Gabby got to pick for the emojis?
Gabby, what do you pick? I know me and Bryce go full white.
Is there something with a hint of green that you lean into, or
What like color in the you know when you can pick emojis like with hands or faces, like where on the line do you pick your? I don't have an iPhone. Oh, that's right.
it's one of the lamest?
Jesus.
It's really hard to
She said
connect
she
with
doesn't
people
have
that
an
don't have
iPhone.
iPhones.
To not have an
don't say
iPhone
that.
is like, it could be a mental illness. You're not participating in the
That's so
world.
unfair.
She's
It's
not
very
participating in the
expensive.
world in the same way that we are, and that bothers me.
Yeah.
Very expensive.
But she's spending the same amount on a stupid Android phone.
I don't know if that's true. That's definitely not true.
There's
That's
a lot of tension
Before we get
between me
there,
and
let's
Gab.
talk about our sponsors who we love so much. You no longer need the big bang bucks to get yourself a bidet. Because with the brand new Hello Tushy 3.0 modern bidet attachment, it is here to level the playing field. It's stylish, it's eco-friendly, it's easy to install, and it's affordable, okay? It doesn't just cleanse your butt with a precise stream of fresh water. It cleans itself before and after it's used with the Smart Spray automatic self-cleaning nozzle. You guys, it doesn't just wipe you. It gets the poop, it sprays, you're dry, and you go. And sanitation is simple because it has a schmutz shield, which offers easy cleaning, and the knobs are naturally antimicrobial. Plus, every Hello Tushy bidet attachment comes with a 60-day risk-free guarantee and a 12-month warranty. You guys, it's so easy to install on your toilet. It's the best. So go to Hello... Oh, you have something to say?
Yes, I do. Thank
Say
you
it.
for asking. I used to be a big wet wipe guy.
Yes,
and
so bad for the
and
environment.
If you don't know, they're not great for the environment. They can clog up your septic tank. And I am also tired of spending, almost $10 for a couple packs of these things. It has completely removed that from the equation for me. I am a believer. Rob's been trying to get me on the bidet for years now, and my butthole's never been cleaner. And sometimes I probably just let it sit. I turn the nozzle and just hang out there for a little bit longer than I
Sweet.
should. Yeah.
That's nice.
Well, let's just say there was no stipulation around any of this, right? And you woke up as a 30-year-old person and you took a shit and somebody said, well, you'd have two options. You could wipe it down with a piece of paper or we could spray water on you. What?
and dry you off.
Yeah, it's not even a question. This is if you're still wiping your asshole, you're an asshole.
Yeah. Get in it. This is the future. Go to hellotushy.com/pajama to get 10% off plus free shipping. This is the special offer for our listeners. So go to hellotushy.com/pajama for 10% off. hellotushy.com/pajama.
Guys, we have some emails.
Let's get to them.
Ooh.
Gimme.
Do you want to read them? I feel
I
like
don't care.
you do a very nice job. It's always such a reminder to me how poor of a reader I am every time I do this. So.
Okay.
Jamie, quick question. If you, on your move, if you get to Austin and they go, we have some bad news, we lost something, what's the thing you would most not want to hear right there?
That they lost of
Yeah.
mine?
Your Hitachi magic wand.
Your Tamagotchi?
You shoving Tamagotchis
Like
up there, dude?
framed albums, frames.
The irreplaceable stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
That kind of stuff.
Like your
Like I'm taking all my jewelry with me in my suitcase.
your
like
framed
art-
Crybaby album, the gold, what did it go, platinum Crybaby?
Moving on.
That was
Got
Jamie's.
roasted.
That was
At least
Jamie's.
he knows how to get to me.
That was
just got
Jamie's
roasted.
music video.
Yeah,
Go
dude.
go YouTube it right now.
Get
This is
her.
from Saw, and it's titled "I Feel You, Cass." Hi guys and Gabby, love the podcast, and I can write an essay about how much I love The Sopranos.
Do it.
Now that that's out of the way, my name is Saeed, and I live in Belgium. I'm 33 years old. I am a few podcasts behind. Just watched a Jordanian and heard Kassem tell the story about racial profiling. I had this experience which I thought was scary, but ended kind of funny. I wanted to go to New York since I was a kid seeing Home Alone 2. Corny, I know. So at 21, a 21-year-old me and then my girlfriend, who is now my wife, saved up enough money to go to New York. At JFK, I was a bit nervous because I have an Arabic name, and lo and behold, I was taken aside for questioning. My girlfriend did not see me get guided away, so she was scared out of her mind, alone in New York, just like Kevin. So this guy who was Latino, don't know if this matters, starts asking me questions. What I do for a living, where I would stay in New York, what my plans are. So I start to answer, we are staying at this hotel and we are going to this and that, all the typical touristy stuff. So I kept talking about we, and suddenly he goes, who is the other person that is with you? I said, my girlfriend. And he asked, why isn't she in for questioning? I replied, she's white. He gave me a look and then started laughing, and I could go on and enjoy my trip. Fun times. Keep up the good work you guys are doing, and respect on both your sober journeys. Saeed.
There's a billion stories like this.
Yeah.
Saeed.
Man.
I gotta
Yeah.
say, when we travel to Austin to see you, I'm not waiting for you.
Yeah,
like,
you
outside
might,
of the.
right. I might just have to meet you there.
Yeah, I'm just
Do you
gonna
run?
go.
Do you feel like that happens to you?
Oh yeah,
Really?
yeah. Yeah, I try and wipe myself up when I go to the airport. I'll wear like all Patagonia now, and
You do this a lot
I'll put an SPF 30 on just to kind of lighten up the face a little bit.
for a few days before you use the white emoji, just to let people kind of.
Yeah, just like show a history of.
Something
there's-
happened to your brother on a flight. You said, right?
Oh yeah, I think I talked about it on the podcast about post 9/11. My brother was profiled in like some Karen before we called them Karens.
Yeah.
Was like saying how he wasn't doing anything
Yeah.
except he had like a hood up, and so my brother has like this sort of like he has darker features and he had a hood up, so he kind of looked a little, maybe questionable if you were a racist piece of shit. So then she complained to the stewardess that she thought, I think he's up to something, and then he got defensive. And they pulled him off the plane because he got agitated, and then they eventually let him back on. But I mean that stuff just happens,
You know what I guess for me is like, yeah, you can say that stuff happens, but I don't feel like there's an ever like a sincere apology about it.
Yeah. Well,
Like I feel like that like
no one wants to admit that they were racist towards you because everyone likes to walk around thinking racism is like, that's from the guys in the Ku Klux Klan. I don't carry it around with me, But everyone has a prejudice.
yes.
Even me.
Yes.
They
Well,
mostly go to those
fuck, Saeed.
Right, Gabby?
Filipinos up there. Yeah.
What does that mean? Oh my god.
Just
Jamie,
kidding. I love you, Gab.
so I was watching this show called Married at First Sight,
Yes.
and it's where I don't know if I talked about it.
I think you
before.
sent me a clip.
Right. So yeah. So it's people, obvious that the title gives it away, but it's people who see the person they're about to marry when they're walking down the aisle.
That's
It's
so
the first time you
fucked
see
up.
each other, you get married, then they follow you for like 2 months. And when they did it, when they were standing there, since they didn't know each other, they didn't write the vows. They had their friends and family write the vows for them. And it starts out like, Robert's family wants you to know that. And then they say like all the stuff. And my first thought was like, if I had somebody to do that for me, who would I pick? And I was like, Jamie. But then I was like, you know what? I wouldn't want to give her something else to do. Like, I wouldn't want to put something else in your lap of like things you got to do. But if you were gonna write it, what would you say? Would you have Cassim come
So
sprinkle
what-
the funny in a little?
Yes, I think I would love to collaborate on cast with this. So this is what we would be saying to your future wife.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. So
And we have to say like who
Mrs.
you are.
Eiler.
You could say
basically
whatever-
like here's what you're in
Because
for.
a vow normally in my head is like I promise to do these things,
Right.
But in this case they don't
It's
really
more
know
like
the
here's
person.
what you got to do for Rob.
Or it's
maybe.
like he will be
this
this.
is what we think
but
of
you
him.
should be, and also you should maybe be this if you want
Okay.
this to work out best.
Okay.
Okay.
So Rob will always be honest with you.
A little
Sometimes too honest.
Sorry.
Don't talk to him much. Unless he asks.
Is that how you feel about me?
No, not at all.
Only the women I have sex with.
Yes, exactly. I just feel like I'm in a different category.
Doesn't want a chatterbox.
Yeah.
Don't be a chatty cat.
Yeah.
Brush off your juicing skills and your roasting skills.
Hope you're ready for chicken. A lot.
Yes. Yes.
A lot of
hope
chicken.
you like protein and vegetables. No.
You've never made me a juice.
No,
Jamie.
no one will make you laugh or think about life more. Conversations will never be dull. He has lots of wonderful thoughts in his head. He can be stubborn in his ways and stick to them, but I feel if gently influenced, he might come around to some new things. And as his friend, I would love for you to introduce him to some new things.
Like what?
I don't know.
Outside.
Things.
Oh,
I'm out there, babe.
I'm out there, babe. Yeah.
And don't ever expect him to know what's going on in your head. You need to, I think it's an unfair thing women do in general that I always try and be conscious of. If you're feeling something, if you're feeling something that he's done, or you're not feeling great about a conversation, he's not gonna know. Bring it up and be forward, because you have a very honest man with you. That's what I would say.
I like it. I think
Loyal.
Big time.
I want to
Yeah.
add that.
loyal, which comes with the honesty. I like all this.
Yeah.
I would say also sometimes just the way you speak, you can come across as like more aggressive about a subject than you really are.
It's just
just the
passion.
way you talk. Some people be like, damn, this guy's like either pissed or, this is something I've had to make adjustments for, I feel like. But it's, you're always really good about like smoothing it out if you sense that maybe that person took it the wrong way.
Yeah. That's something I've been working on the last couple of years a lot, where I'm like, man, but it just like, but it's also like, even sometimes somebody will be like, man, you're really excited about that, huh? I'm like, no, like,
Yeah.
but it's also, it comes with the thing of like how I fast and eat once a day. So when I talk about food, I'm like, I'm fucking like, I've never been this hungry in my life. Like, it just becomes, it's never like, I'm never like, yeah, I could nosh. It's either like I'm fucking starving
Well,
or
you
I'm
threw
full.
us for a loop one day when you said that you started eating at home before you came to my house.
Yeah, but you know why I did that? Because Cutter made the fucking worst meal I've ever had in my life the week before, and I was sitting there with no food.
That's right.
I mean, you can only eat so much broccoli, Jamie. You
Poor
can only
Cutter.
eat so much roasted broccoli. No, listen. Cutter has made some of the best food I've ever had in my
And he's
entire
about
life.
to make your favorite on Sunday.
He's making the greatest food ever. It's unbelievable. He's putting in so much time. He's fucking waking up early, sometimes crazy. But there was just one week where it was just something I don't like. And I said it too. I was like, I'm not going to like this. Like I knew from the get-go.
did.
And Cassim's like, no, you're going to.
Yeah.
Cassim's telling me how I'm going to like
Sometimes
it.
I think I can like soften the, situation for Rob, or
Which
like
makes me even more aggressive.
He-
It
Yeah,
made me
goes the
sad
other
because
way.
I always feel good, like on Sundays, like knowing you left like satisfied, and that Sunday was sad.
Cutter's sweetness comes out in these moments too, because he really cares
Yeah,
about
yeah.
how fed everyone in, did he do a good job? And I felt like I had to overcompensate a little bit because Rob was clearly not enjoying the meal. And then, Cutter goes like, whoa, like he gets really in his head about it. And it's just so sweet that he puts that much thought into feeding Rob. But you'll never get like an appeasement from Rob. He's going to tell you how I didn't enjoy it, And, and I don't like you less.
Yeah.
I still love you, but tonight's meal was a miss.
That's
But
right.
here's what happened. It wasn't as much that as I had to say that because normally I eat for 2 hours.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this was, I had one bite and I was like, no thanks. So
Right.
it's very,
Yeah.
it's not like somebody else who could have like one piece and be like, oh yeah, I'm all,
Yeah.
You had that one bad meal, and then so the next week,
Yeah.
Rob, who normally comes very hungry to the pod, ate before he came because he was setting himself up
For
to
failure.
not have to be hungry again. At
Well,
night.
we are going to feed the fuck out of you on Sunday.
Yeah, it's gonna be
I'm
good.
going balls to the wall, you guys.
Yeah, we're going big. And that's when you talked about like, you need to, like as a girl, you would need to really tell Rob what's going on. And it's even, I feel like it's even more so for me because of how much I'm like, I say everything that's going on. So I'm not somebody who looks for,
Right.
I'm not like, wait, hold on. Is there some, because in my head, I'm like, oh, we put it all out there, right? Like whenever I've been in a relationship, I'm very like, hey, we put it all out. Like the biggest fights I've ever had in relationships were where it was like, okay, wait, like something was going on. And it was like, wait, so we're done. Like we're not mad at this anymore. And then I still felt the coldness. And then like hours later or days later, it was like, yeah, well, and I'm like, just let me know you're angry. Don't pretend. I remember there was one really bad fight where I was just like, I got so mad where I was like, I can't even talk anymore
Yeah.
because it was so like, the thing happened. We figured it all out. It was all good. And it was like, okay, like, yeah, like, all good. I'm sorry, whatever. And then like the next day,
It came up again.
something came up and I was just like, man.
See, that where Cutter and I have that, I'll say to him, I'm gonna need a minute to get over this. Don't bring it up to me, but also to understand I'm not 100%. So like, I've been very honest. There have been like maybe 2 or 3 things in our entire 9 years together where I'm like, I'm gonna need a minute to get past this. Because sometimes it's not that I want to stew, but like my process is longer.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's been times where yeah, exactly, like where the arguments have gotten heated with girls where I just leave because I know what the next step, like we've talked about this, where in my family growing up, there weren't really long fights. They were fucking insane, intense.
Yeah.
Like bang, like it went from like, oh, could you pass the to like bang bang bang, like
Yes.
shit being fucking thrown, and you're like, whoa, like, you know,
Yes.
but that wasn't, looking from an outsider now, I see it as that. In the time, it was like, oh no, this is how you fight. So as I grew up and learned not everyone fights this way, there have been times where I've been with a girl and been like, I just have to go. And then a girl will like, you know, abandonment issues come up, or then it's like, well, if you're just going to leave every time things get, and I'm like, trust me, leaving was the best option, because I don't know how to, like, you know, there's times where it gets so escalated that it's like, I only know how to now deliver low blows.
Yeah,
you know, like
right.
I can't, and it was also before a lot of meditation and therapy, where now I think I would be better, but still not, you know.
We Cutter and I had this thing going on where like I was needing something from him in a certain moment, and he was like feeling like he couldn't give it to me, and it was making me feel bad about myself. And like when we kind of took a minute and we had one of our like mentors in our life talk to us about it, he was like, you both have to take responsibility for who you are in that moment. Like, Cutter, it's not all on her why you can't give her what you need. There's something within you of why you can't give it to her. And Jamie, there is something in you of why you need that. So like you both need to like figure out where your wounds are and why you're needing that, which allows you then to be full to then meet each other for what we need. So it was like a really interesting way to think about it, because like for me, conversation is foreplay. Like 5 minutes at the end of the day.
Tie me up with your words.
5 minutes at the end of the day of looking me in my eye and being like, how are you? How was your day? And just being like, fuck, Jamie, that sucked. Or wow, that's awesome. Like hearing me. Like if as soon as I feel like seen and heard, I'm like, what do you want to do? But if he can't give me those times, like I don't feel like fulfilled. I don't feel connected. And for him, at the end of a day, he just wants to like, you know, get right in bed with each other. And it's hard for me because I don't feel connected. So it's about us figuring out why we need those things. And also, like I said, being responsible and understanding that that type of practice will both get us both what we want.
Yeah. One
of the many weird things about me is like, as much as I'm like, blah, and like I put everything out there, then when it comes to those times, I'm like, like I do, because I'm like, I get it all. I get it all out, you know, for me, where it's like, I don't want to repeat, like, and that's what it's so great for me to like get stuff out, because I'm like, I don't need to repeat it. I don't need to go back. So even like, you know, I'll walk in the door with like everything I need to say, and then if it's like later at night and it was like, how's everything? How's your day? I'm like, what? Like I don't respond well to that, you know, because I'm like, I get everything out in the moment, you know. It's like
yes. Well, you know, it's life. It's hard, you know. It's like Cutter has a really demanding job and he's talking to a lot of people, and like I'll get jealous. I'll hear him on the phone being like, how are you? How's your day? And like bullshitting with somebody. And I'm like, I don't get that guy. I understand times are extreme right now and all that stuff, but we're a year into it. Like we got to figure something out. And I'll get sad. Do you know what I mean? But like for him, he's like, that's work. But then you have to put in work for this too.
And just to give you a little pat on the back, because I've been able to witness you guys kind of together for a bit now.
Yeah.
I think you guys are so great together, and they're you know, and it's obvious in the moments where you're annoyed at each other, because I've seen those moments where you're like, Cutter, why would you just say that to me? This is how that makes me feel. And then there's, but it gets cleaned up really fast, and you guys work right through it. And at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, all right, that was just like, look, we both have the kids all day, like we're out of our fucking mind. And maybe something came out of my mouth a little sideways, and it's like fun to see, and it's like you learn a little bit, you know, as an outsider from it.
Oh.
So you should be very happy that you guys have gotten to this point, you know,
That's
and without
nice.
like
Yeah.
divorcing or
sure.
you know, there's just I feel like this pandemic will take you to a whole new low if you let it.
Oh my!
You
Well,
know.
yeah, your mind goes to all the extremes. It's a very natural human reaction when you feel threatened, and you
Yeah.
know, and all that kind of stuff. But you know, we're pushing through, and like we said, we have this adventure and this change, and we don't know what's going to come along with it. But I think anything to kind of shake up what we've been dealing with the past 12 months will be
Yeah,
good.
white hands clapping emoji for you.
Only.
Well, it's like Cutter can be negative at times, and I think when you're with somebody who's once a week, like when I'm with Cutter and he's negative, to me it's funny. Yeah, because I'm not.
And he gets to let it out a little bit when we're there too. Like,
Well, he's
Right.
not getting. Well, he probably doesn't get like
yeah,
judge
it's
or
all
like
day,
comments
bro.
back from me about it. Do you know what I mean? He gets to like.
Where does he
that's
get
part of
it,
his sense
dude?
of humor. I get it.
Yeah, for sure.
But it can weigh on you after a week.
But then there's times where it's not even a sense of humor. He's just being negative. And I think me and you, I might be wrong, but I think me and you like reject that even more than most, because it's like, it's kind of what we come from. And we've worked so hard. That's like the number one thing I don't want to, I don't want to look at a situation and automatically see the negative.
That's why I was saying that thank you before you're going to complain. Like it
Of course.
stops you. It stops you in your tracks. Like you say, we've both worked really hard to like not be in that mindset.
Yeah, and I still am very, very much, and it's so. But the biggest thing is, I notice how easy it is for me to go back there. Like if I'm around people who I used to be, and that's what's getting kicked around, it's like you don't even realize. Like it's so great with meditation and stuff because you really can be like an outsider sometimes at conversations where you're not just in the mix. But that first like 2 minutes, it could just be like, yeah, fuck it, all you're like, yeah, fucking pieces of shit, and it feels. It just feels like, what was the thing I heard the other day? Somebody said, what was I watching? Where she was like, The Crown. And she was like, she's like, you're so hard on me. Like, and you're always saying bad things to me. And she's like, well, it's the only time I get to give myself peace. Like when I'm like lashing out at you, because there's not that like that dialogue in my head, or that voice in my head. It's coming out.
Yeah, you know what's weird? So many people, like, anytime I've, like, been in, like, a circle or friends or we're all talking and they're like, what we wish for you, Jamie, they all were like, we just wish you weren't so hard on yourself.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, yeah. I am. Like, when, you're right, when you meditate or you can kind of witness your own thought pattern, I have, like, a full-on jury that, like, judges every fucking decision I make. And again, it's extreme because I don't have any of the outlets. I'm like always with my children. I'm always like, so I'm like constantly judging myself as a mother and a friend and a wife and a blah, 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 blah. But it is true because what's interesting is I'm not hard on other people, just myself. I don't want to redirect that, obviously, outwardly, and, but I do want to take it off of myself too. It's like my life's greatest work.
You handle your life in a way that's really inspiring and also makes me not want to be a dad sometimes. But you should be so happy that you're in this spot where you're hard on yourself. Things are stressful. You get to go home to those two little monsters. But they, there's a part in every time we're over on Sunday where they're like just the sweetest. It's like a small window. But in that window, you're like, oh, that's worth it. Mostly.
100%. I mean, can you imagine if they got to like leave my house 5 days a week to go to school and like had some activities and then we're just home?
I'm surprised you just don't let them go walk around the neighborhood by themselves.
I'm about to.
Cass, what if you were moving and they lost one thing? Is it just that comic book that you'd be most upset about?
Yeah.
Financially, it would be a big loss. But I have it in a safety deposit box. But I have other comic books that are, I have, for the most part, I have some photos and things like that. But like realistically, they're all on hard drives. Yeah. There's really not anything I have that would be devastating. It would just be like, oh, I gotta buy that again.
Yeah.
Which is I got cool stuff. I got a cool electronics, and I like my things, and I'm lucky to have a lot of those things. So if they were to go missing, I'd be like, well, I got the enjoyment out of it, you know.
When you were with me, I don't have anything.
If my dog were not to make it or something, you know, then that would be like a
but that's like
a crushing
not a thing. He's living.
Well, what if he died in a fire?
Jesus.
Because like you came over and left the oven on or something, you know.
So that's very.
You burned my
likely.
broccoli and killed his dog at the same time.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Worst
Fucking
day of my
Jamie.
life.
When you were a kid, did you have one? And yeah, for me, like again, I watched that documentary on minimalism and got everything down to like 2 bags. I have like my laptop, my phone, and clothes. That's literally all I have. When you were a kid, did you have one of those like little safes?
Yeah, with
Like
the
those.
little
What did you
metal
keep?
ones.
What did you keep in there?
Like
Oh, yeah.
some money, like little cards, stickers. I think like a playbill of the first play that I was in.
What kind of
Like-
cards? Little cards.
Cabbage Patch.
Like Valentine's Day.
Yeah,
I have a crush
like
on
Garbage
you.
Pail Kids.
Yeah, garbage. I loved Garbage Pail Kids.
Same.
Loved
Didn't think you'd be into it.
them.
Time
Oh,
me
yeah.
up. Time me up.
Yeah, or like a birthday card from my brother or something, like little things like that. My brother Brian had one, I remember, that was like filled with cash.
Wow.
I had cash.
Really?
I had cash. I had like drummer headquarters and shit like this, like
What the hell
JFK 50
Bicentennial, right?
Yeah, the bicentennial quarters.
Hell yeah,
the
dude.
JFK 50-cent pieces. Hell yeah, dude. I had a lot of the. I was just into like coins. I was into
Yeah.
coins. I was into like a little bit of stamps, baseball
I can't
cards.
wait for my kids to like. I think
Get
that's
a
what's
hobby like
hard
that?
with like the video game stuff with Bo is
Yeah.
like that. I'm worried that it's going to interfere with like his little boy thing of like
Right.
what that thing is going to be.
There's a phase that every kid I know that I went to school with, we all went through like a pyro phase, where we'd fucking like steal lighters from
I
the
don't want
liquor
this
store
one.
and
I don't want that one.
and rig them up to where the flame would be like
Crack them out.
Yeah,
we
is that what you call it? Crack
East
them out.
Coast, yeah, crack 'em
Yeah,
out.
you need to have this not the Bic, but the other cheapo kind that you could like make into a fucking flamethrower. Go down into a sewer,
That's not
fucking
what I was
like get
talking
cigarettes
about.
and shit, and just
Dude.
fuck shit up.
I remember when I turned 18 and everybody was like, what are you going to buy? Like, you're going to buy something really cool. I didn't touch any of my fucking money to buy anything, but I did go to the store and I bought the whole rack of lighters. And I remember being like, this is the fucking cool. Like, I was like, I'm fucking rich. Like,
you can't
I went.
buy a lighter till you're 18?
No. I always wanted
Yeah, I
like
don't think you
the
can.
the display. You know how they have the display and it's like
You want that
6
at home?
orange lighters, 6 white lighters, 6 white.
He let you take the whole thing?
No, I went in there and I'm like, do you have another one of these? Because like me, you know, when you're in New
Yeah.
York, you have like a relationship with your deli
Yes,
guy. Like he's
yes.
my boy, you
You're
know.
a
And I'd be
bodega
like,
person.
yeah, and I'd be like,
tray of lighters, my friend?
Yeah.
got it.
I'd be like, the day I turn 18, I'm coming in here to buy the entire. I want
Yeah.
the entire rack of light, and also because you were always losing lighters when you're that age, and it was like I couldn't have too many lighters because if my mom started finding like a bunch of lighters in my like what is this? But I remember being like 12 years old and hiding Parliament cigarettes in my Altoid case underneath the mints.
Ooh, yeah,
Yeah.
very Jason Bourne of you, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Full like cuz I was never really worried about my parents finding out I smoked weed or drank, but cigarettes was like
Interesting.
I was so
But didn't your mom
fucking
smoke cigarettes?
Never.
Never.
My mom was not like a drug person.
Here's the
wasn't a
thing, yeah, when
drinker.
you smoke cigarettes in a family that doesn't smoke cigarettes, very easy to spot. I was lucky that both my parents smoked, and so they had
Right.
no idea. And I
You
could
become
also
like
just
immune
take
to the smell. And, yeah.
no.
yeah.
That's one of the things when you quit smoking, your smell comes back
Ugh.
like relatively quickly, and
Yeah.
you're like, oh, this tastes better. Everything tastes.
My dad grew up with 2 parents that smoked heavily and has such an aversion to it. Like back in the day where there used to be smoking sections of restaurants, he would walk through it and be like, this is disgusting. It would be like so
Yeah.
embarrassing.
It's crazy that we did that. We smoked
about
on
airplanes?
planes, and yeah. It's just gnarly. And
It's so gnarly.
the amount of like secondhand smoke I was exposed to as a child, there should be a crime, and I should class action lawsuit my parents.
That's
might
how I
have
think
to.
I got asthma. Because I didn't get asthma until I was like 5 or 6, and the amount of smoke in the apartment, I've talked about it a bunch. We had
From your grandpa?
my grandpa, my grandma, my great grandma. There was a bird in that fucking house. I don't know how it wasn't just
I like this.
dead
Love a
all the
bird.
time. Yeah, it was just like how this bird stayed alive, lived forever, like lived fucking 15, 20 years, a cockatoo.
There's
like,
no predators, no natural predators in the apartment.
just like never, barely let it out of the cage and just smoke.
Yeah.
Like all day. Like it, I swear, it was a white bird, if you took the picture of it before and then on the day like it died, it was definitely
brown.
It's like gray.
Yeah, it was like it went from, over here to over here, it went
Yeah.
from like here to here for sure. And I was such a loser that what I kept in my safe, I had a Dan Marino rookie card
Cute.
Ooh.
and rub on tattoos, like like
Yeah.
when you wet them and they
Yeah,
stay on. And
yeah.
I remember when I was like 7 years old, I got like a white bond like tattoo of, it was like a heart on fire with a sword going through it, and I was like, when I turn
badass.
18, like this is what I'm getting this tattoo. And now I look back, I'm like, and that's why I never
That
get
is why they
tattoos
don't let people get tattoos until they're 18. They should actually probably up the age.
to 40.
That's why I
Yes.
didn't get a tattoo when I was 20, because somebody had told me like, look, dude, you get a tattoo now, you're gonna be 50 with a thing that a 20-year-old thought was cool on your body. And it would have been, I was into when I was 20, that Finnish goth rock band Him, and they had that heartogram.
Yeah.
I was gonna get a fucking heartogram like above my pelvis, and
Like Bam Margera.
Bam Margera popularized it, but he did the thing that I wanted to do, but before, like he was like, I love this band, I'm gonna fucking take their whole aesthetic and everything and use their music in my skate videos. But yeah, he got those Bam Margera essentially copied every single tattoo that the lead singer of this band, Villavallo, had, who was a very cool dude, like fucking cool rock star, androgynous, cool fucking sleeve. But Bam Margera was like, yeah, I'm just gonna take those tattoos and put them on me. That's what Bam said.
Wow,
and he
you
did.
access that spit real quick.
Yes,
babe.
yes. Oh man, check this out, man. And he just put the whole thing on his fucking pelvis. And if you look at him now, it doesn't look as cool.
Yeah.
At the age
Yeah.
you're at. And so part of me is like, look, tattoo would be really cool, but I don't love anything enough where I think ahead and being like, this will always be cool.
Right.
When it's people
Well,
like
it's not
with
about
my
being cool. It has to like mean something to you.
yeah, with
Look,
my
I'm not trying to
grandpa.
knock you for having
No,
tattoos.
mine means something to me. It wasn't about looking cool. It wasn't
Totally.
about anything for anybody. It was like two reminders
I
for me
stand
that
for
I need to
nothing,
see.
and I care about nothing, and that's why.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, well, you love lemonade.
Well, that's from
It's
my
a long
brother.
story. Yeah.
It is from my brother.
Why don't you read that
Okay.
email?
Ooh,
Question for Rob. Hi, Pajamas. I'm a consultant in the Midwest who loves to travel, so my question's for Rob. Jamie and, he spelled you with a Q. Cast them as well if they want is this.
Son of a bitch.
Your career has taken you all over the place, but is there somewhere you wish you could stay and explore beyond a work or tourist level experience? Post-Pandy, of course. I love the show, found the pod through YMH, so keep on feathering it. Thank you for all you do and keep the pod going. All the best, John.
Thanks, John.
the only time I ever left like North America, I went to Italy and Amsterdam. Loved it. Amsterdam, I was like, holy shit.
So you
this
wish you
is-
could have stayed longer and like explored longer?
Amsterdam was the only place I ever went where when I left I was sad. Like when I going back to New York, like anytime I was going somewhere and going back to New York, I was pumped to go home. Like like for me, driving over the 59th Street Bridge is like the fucking great. Like seeing
that
the city.
feeling.
That's me at like my highest frequency. Like even when I was like a fucking piece of shit, drinking, drugs, everything, going over that bridge, I was so like I can't even describe, I just felt so amazing. But when we were leaving Amsterdam, I was bummed because I don't know. I think I had to be like 21, 22, but there was a casino across the street from where we were. Like I went the first day with all my friends and told them like, the next day I was like, all right, we went on, let's say it was a Monday. On Tuesday, I was like, on Tuesday I'm going to play poker. Wednesday I'll come back and hang out with you guys. And like the next time I saw them was at the airport. Because I just I bought so much weed and played poker. I smoked and played poker. That was it.
Wow.
And I just never.
Is the weed different there?
No, at the time it was like you can just. It was the only time I ever saw where now it's legal. But like you could have walked into a store and they gave you a menu and they're like, "What do you want? What are you feeling?"
Right.
Where 15 years ago, you just heard about that shit, where they'd be like, oh, do you want to get tired? Are you hungry? Are you
Yes.
hanging out with friends? Do you need to focus? Do you this? And they had like hash and
It's
all this
amazing.
crazy shit. And it was the great. And like real like American assholes, we ate Burger King the whole time.
Yeah.
Like I never.
If that's the only thing it's
Flame
hard to
grilled
get
Whopper.
around sometimes is other than Italy is I find is the food in other places. I liked the food in Spain a bit, but I think we talked about this the other day. I've only been to London twice for work. I would love to go to London, but I actually would really love to take my kids to London when they're a little bit older because I think it's like the perfect, European city that's close enough to kind of what they know, but it's a fun city with a lot of culture and excitement, but also a lot of history. And I would just love the opportunity myself to stay longer and explore and just be a tourist.
Yeah. I like the hats they wear over there.
Yeah.
You get away with different hats. in London.
Yes.
What kind of hat would you wear in London?
Oh, one of those like Samuel L. Jackson hats. What are they called?
Oh, the Kangol?
Well, just like, but one that's all wool. Made out of wool.
Oh, like a
a
Joe
Paperboy
Perino
hat.
That's a Joe Perino hat.
Yeah.
Joe Perino rocks that right now.
I feel like I couldn't do that well here.
I don't know if you could do it well there.
I don't think so either.
Yeah,
You're
that would be
absolutely
a
right.
stretch for you. I mean, I think it would be the same here or there, if it makes you feel any better.
I would just look bad both places.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
Just don't do it.
Maybe you'd
Don't
look
do it.
maybe you'd look dumber in Venice than if you were in like
I've seen some
London,
pretty
but-
dumb people in Venice. Venice might actually work out.
Yeah, imagine everyone turned around when you walked onto the boardwalk because you looked so stupid, and they're all like they have like snakes
Yeah.
coming out of their noses and
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah, I feel like that's actually happened. Another email?
Sure. Hey guys, thanks for being the architects of my favorite podcast. Been here since day one. Kasim, I love you. I have watched, consumed, and been loyal to your content since 2009 and have had a crush on you since I was 15. I always had grand plans of taking your structure of California on and doing the same on the Asbury Park boardwalk in good old dirty Jersey. That's right, Rob. I'm a blue-eyed brunette from your favorite bimbo capital.
Oh, hell yeah,
When
dude.
Kasim first shared the details of the podcast, I was so stoked to see that it was Rob and Jamie. Being from New Jersey, of course, I grew up watching the show. Part of the intro is filmed on the very boardwalk I spoke of. Crazy world. You guys are such a cohesive team, and your banter makes me belly laugh at my shitty desk job. Considering Kasim can't make my 15-year-old dreams a reality, being on different coasts and all, I do have a question. How the hell is a girl supposed to find a date good time in these times? I can't stand these dumbass boys on dating apps anymore, and I'm just about ready to run into the ocean and go swimming with the sharks. I love you guys to pieces. Keep on keeping it real, weirdly sexual, and perfectly genuine. Stay cool, Lindsay. Not your 5th grade ex or your latest ex, but I'll gladly be your next.
Ooh,
Man, it's just I attract a lot of Lindsays, I guess, huh?
You do.
Well, I don't know if you've already tried in person and
I mean,
the
he's on the
dating apps. Yeah, I mean the apps are actually, I think, the best way to do it right now. I mean, there's been such an influx of people during the quarantine that have just been like, fuck it, dude.
Yeah.
Fuck it, dude. I'm getting on this app. It's the only way I can meet people. And you're going to have to sift through a lot of shit. You're going to see a lot of profiles like mine, and you're going to just be like, ugh. But maybe out of every 50, you'll come across one, and you're like, oh, this guy seems normal. He didn't send me a dick pic within the first few sentences, So that's always a good sign, I'd say.
Yeah, I wouldn't know.
I hate how disposable those apps make you feel about people. It's just like, yeah,
You're
nah,
right.
nah.
You're
blip.
so right. These are
rough.
human beings
so
with like
much.
full-bodied lives, and wow, it's
There is
so
a
true.
culture on these apps
Fuck.
that promotes a sort of like, swipe this way to
I
completely
hate that.
disregard this person, and then swipe this way for potential of fucking that person.
And I don't even think it's so much the swiping as it is as soon as you swipe, there's another one. And like, there's another one. So it's like, even if you meet someone and you're like, I don't know, there could be, like, I know for a fact, you've gone on a great date and like, you're home for 5 minutes, you're back on the app.
Sure. But because what happens is there's a strong chance 95% of these interactions you're having are just gonna fizzle out. And so what the app is training you to do is be like, well, make sure you
Ready for the next.
line up the next one. If one of these other ones works out, great, then you can stop with all the other ones. But like, let's keep it moving. Daddy's got to make some babies. We got to keep the train rolling, And it's it's like a game that sometimes doesn't seem to end, And
But it's making guys like you think in a way that,
Like scarcity?
no, it's like, it's not who you really are. We're like,
Yes.
if you went on a date with some girl normally, I don't think you would be home for 5 minutes and be like, I need to text another broad. Like, I need to find another chick. But just the fact that you open up your phone and it's like going to Instagram and you just start pushing and then it takes you away from like your connection with her.
It's uncharacteristic. I'm learning things that are uncharacteristic that I would normally behave in a way with a girl. And, I think that what would be a unique feature on one of these apps is if like maybe you only got like 3 matches a week or a certain amount a month, because then you would have to focus that attention on them and growing those conversations or something. Because there's a strong chance I have swiped on and had a conversation with a girl that potentially could be my wife, but like because I was distracted by another conversation or whatever, I just missed growing that conversation in an organic way. And maybe on her end she's getting distracted, and like we're both kind of at the end of the day know that we're probably not gonna, but there's who knows. And if that was happening in the real world, you'd have time to look at that, talk to that person and just get their number and like not be thinking about like, oh, I got 30 other girls in my beeline that I can be checking out at the moment, and so it's helped a lot, but it's had to do it by changing dating for probably in a way that's like more commercial or more like it doesn't it's less meaningful in the way that it works now. But
I think
that's
like
the only way I know how to do it.
I also think like if you meet a girl and you're like, oh, it's all right, but there's something you don't like about her, our problem solving brains when we get home, it's like, well, I'm either going to sit here and think about that problem about her and how can I fix it or how can I adjust to it, or maybe it's not that big of a deal, or wait, hold on, this girl just texted me, like why am I even going to focus on...
I would go home and like call a friend and talk about it.
Right. Where now instead it's like some other girl's like, hey, you're cute, and you're like, well,
thanks. Little me.
So true.
Yeah.
And you could have connected really well with a person just before that, but just like that conversation just took a small pause and now there's somebody else.
Well, that's why I remember I was telling you, I was like, I asked him if he had ever had that feeling of like when you meet someone or you go on a date with somebody, you go home and you just cannot wait to see them again and you cannot stop thinking about them. I don't know if that was me falling in love or it's just like having those connections because they weren't often that you would have that.
I have girls who I still think about that way and I go, oh my God, if she wasn't crazy. And I'm not trying to be funny at all. Like, look, I'm saying everything was great and then they would do something where you go, oh my God, like you're insane.
But no one's perfect.
Jamie, if I told you one of these things, your reaction would be like, oh, like you wouldn't believe what I'm talking. But also, like, I was crazy back then too. I was like crazy, attractive, crazy. We would usually meet at 3:30 a.m. outside of a bathroom at a club doing drugs. Like, of course they're crazy, but I mean, like, and I'm in my head, I'm like, man, that girl. Like, even when I think about her now, I'm like, if she just didn't like do this insane stuff, like, it would be perfect. And I still have that part of me that's like, I think about. Before I found out that about the insane stuff of being like, oh my God, like we had the best time every time. And then you're like, wait, this isn't, like probably the same way how I would just disappear. Like girls would be like, that's insane. Like that's not normal. Yeah. Like you can't just, like everything's going great with us. And then for 7 days, you're just missing. Gone. Like and to me, I was like, well, I'm going to fucking party and maybe I went to Vegas or I didn't feel like responding. And this old girl might be like, this guy's nuts. Yes. Where to me, I was like, I was just,
Have you ever met Robert Eiler out there on the mean streets of New York City? And then one day he just went missing? Write in, askpajamapants@gmail.com.
We want to hear about it.
We'd love to hear your Robert Eiler just left me in the middle of a dance floor story.
Yeah, you might fucking get one.
I feel like there's a good chance.
You just might. My friend who, when I told that story about the cheese fries a couple of weeks ago where like my friend fell, my friend who was there who fell down the stairs, Heather, hit me up and she's like, I'm crying listening to this right now, like remembering this moment of like, it's crazy, it's like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And it was just,
It's funny how certain moments pop out and stick with you.
Like that's an episode, guys. Thank you for watching. If you're watching on YouTube, click the subscribe button. We're getting close to 30,000 subscribers. You can click the notification bell, and that'll alert you when these videos go live on YouTube, which right now is every Tuesday morning. And then the audio goes out every Monday. So follow us on Instagram. We're on Twitter. Jamie's on Twitter and Instagram, and so am I. We have a subreddit, r/Pajama Pants Podcast. And yeah, you can email us at askpajamapants@gmail.com. You guys got anything?
Love you.
Love you guys so fucking much. Tie me up.